Angry guy here, and traditional women are celebrating the suffering of modern women. Traditional women are celebrating the suffering of modern women. So it's been a little while since I had a comment from Mayumi that I wanted to share. I thought this was pretty profound. So, on one of my videos, Wickedness is Catching Up to Modern Women, we basically look at how black women are crying and hollering now as they're getting checked and black men are walking away from them, walking away from Western society, wanting to have nothing to do with them. Women in general are burning, not just black women, but women, white women, Hispanic women. These women are burning out rapidly in Western society, and it's basically the living and the choices they've made. So our favorite physician and resident troll, Mayumi. I've spoken to Mayumi before. I said that she's supposed to be saving lives, not sending them to the ER. She said, "I love this channel because Angry Guy exposes the harpies who destroyed what it means to be a family, motherhood, happiness, and love. I enjoy watching them cry because they destroyed so many good men's lives out of greed and hate. I don't consider myself a modern woman because even though I came from a family that has lineage, I lived on farms in northern Japan. I don't own a handbag that costs the GDP of small countries or a lot of shoes that will make Melita Marcos envious. Life is meant to be enjoyed, not sit here being greedy. Western women will always be the butt of my jokes." Well, thank you, Mayumi, for that great comment. Guys, modern women, they have lost everything. And they are crying their eyes out over it, saying that they don't care about the passport kings.
Seen any women crying over passport bros. However, I have seen a lot of women laughing at passport bros. Because we can replace men like you with cats and dogs, but y'all have to literally go to another country because no other woman in your own country wants you anymore. That's what we call a whole cope, honey.
Which is absolute nonsense, absolute lies, guys. They are breaking down into tears. The video that Mayumi was responding to, in regards, is basically one where this woman, she was there trying to shame passport kings, and then guess what happened? These men clapped back at her on social media, and now she's in tears, crying her eyes out. Let's check out that video again.
Thing I've never seen in my life, and it's a bad bitch cry over a passport broke. From laughter, baby. Yo, it's like very weird. And listen, as a black woman, I don't like being right all the time. I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. I wish I could shut the fuck up. I wish when I told y'all was whack and corny back in the day when y'all called my job for me calling y'all whack and corny, clown games win clown prizes, babe. I feel this existential level of stuckness in my life that the only thing or the only way I think I can get out of it is to give the fuck up. Going on, I really appreciate you guys checking on me from my last post, but I'm not okay. I'm really not okay. I have not been living my life. I've been too afraid to leave my fucking house. Like, I just want to live again because I feel like I've been dead. I feel like I've been dying and I'm tired of this feeling. But I can't focus on living my life and getting better if I'm distracted by a bunch of shit. So I have to eliminate distractions, even though it kills me, because I fucking love this community.
She did this to herself. She went after these men. She forgot that they were men, and she messed around and found out. She thought that she could do whatever she wanted because women in Western society have been told that there are no consequences for anything that they do. They think they are above God. They really, really do. They really think they are above God. It's like they think that they are unstoppable, but they are absolutely not. Everything that we have, let me tell you right now, something I've realized. There are times when I go through imposter syndrome where I've, throughout my life, I've done pretty amazing things. I've built things, I've created things that other people, could not do with PhDs. And I think a lot of us go through that and we talk about it like, how the heck am I even doing this? And I realized that all of it comes from God. Every single bit of it comes from God. Like, guys, I created a cryptocurrency academy, and I created a ton of courses rapidly, like just one after the other after the other. I have two math. I have a really good undergrad, and I have two masters, and I was in two different PhD programs. But even then, I still have imposter syndrome. And I teach. I do a lot of teaching and all of these things, and you know, I have a lot of skill sets, and yet I struggle with imposter syndrome. And I realize as I'm rebuilding my business and creating new coursework for you guys and doing all of these things, that all of it comes from God. Everything I'm capable of doing, everything, it's you have it's all God. It is. And a lot of men say it like, like they ask successful people like, how are you doing this? And they'll say, find God, because without him you cannot do anything. Some of y'all are like, I don't believe in God, he's not real. That's cool, live your life, bro. For those of you that want to hear my message, I'm telling you, it's all God. And you have to realize something: Satan cannot do anything that God does not allow him to. And when you look at what women have done in Western society, these are acts of the devil. These are acts of evil. These are acts of Jezebel. And their evilness and wickedness has been happening for an extremely long time. But guess what? None of this could happen unless God allowed it to happen. So this means that God has allowed women to do this. God has allowed them to spread their wickedness. God has allowed them to do all of this evil. And you know the reason why? Because, guys, it is coming to an end. And when it does come to an end, oh my gosh, the drop from grace, the so-called fall from grace or privilege is going to be massive. Someone predicted many years ago, and I saw this coming, but there was like this there was this I forget the exact name of it, manifesto or something along the lines. This guy wrote, and he basically predicted that come the 2020s, society, or the world, global society was going to literally begin asking, how did modern women fall into such a terrible, destitute state? And he predicted that women were going to fall into immense poverty. I called it the great collapse of the great V collapse of 2020. But other things happened in 2020, and that was delayed, but it's coming. And his prediction, and he basically, the guy who wrote this like manifesto, he basically said that he was moving on now. And he was so firm in this belief, and he basically posted this like 10 years ago, right? And it doesn't take a genius to see where things were headed, but this was like 10 years ago. And it was basically that global society is going to look and wonder, how did American women in Western society end up in the extreme poverty and destitute state that they are in at that time? And this is where things are headed right now, guys. Like, literally half of all Americans cannot afford their rent anymore. Everyone's living off credit. Women are living entirely off the simp economy. You have women who are going on dates right now without a dollar in their pockets. And when the men that they go on dates with say they're not paying the bill, the women are literally left in complete shambles because they don't have the money to pay the bill. Y'all heard me. Like, these women do not have the money to pay the bill. And like, these employees are like, a lot of times they're just calling the cops. Like, nope, if you cannot pay for your meal, we're calling the cops. And the cops are going to come and take care of it. Like, these women literally do not have a dime to their name. They are living entirely off the simp economy. I watched a video on the Whatever podcast, and this guy basically was talking to all of these Only Fools models, and he said to them that, look at what happens with successful athletes. These guys that join the NFL make millions of dollars, sometimes tens of millions of dollars. Like, you've got guys who've earned over $100 million in their careers, and they are like damn near flat broke. Okay, and these are guys who had managers, financial advisors, like tons of people around them. Like look at guys like Allen Iverson. Like Allen Iverson doesn't have bread like that. Dude made ridiculous amounts of money in his career, right? And look at what ended up happening to these guys, right? And these are people, these are professional athletes that had financial advice, they had managers, they had financial advisors, okay? And they still ended up in poverty. They still ended up broke. So what? So how? So if this happened to these men, what do you think is going to happen to your average only fools, lonely fans model, right? They're gonna lose all of that money. They have no financial literacy, but they think they are smarter, they are wiser than men. They are women, they are powerful, and it's ridiculous. They are brave and all of this other nonsense. And it's like they're saying these things about women who are literally involved in this industry. And what ultimately ends up happening is these women, they get this money, they start to buy fancy, they immediately go and buy fancy cars, buy houses that they can't afford, and eventually the money all dries up. They owe the IRS tons of cash, so they've got liens against them, and they can't find a job in the real world. And then they rush to Jesus and say that they're born again. Like literally on the same whatever podcast, there was a woman who was involved in the industry, and she said that she's going to get her virginity back after she's finished. And the host was like, what are you talking about? Guys, did I not tell you again about the born again virgins? That they were all going to head over to the church. All the only fools, lonely fans, girls, they're going to head over to the church, and they're going to go and get washed by the blood of Christ. And they, baptized, reborn, born again virgins. And Jesus cleaned them. Jesus has washed away their sins. And that girl isn't around anymore because this is sister so and so, and she has been washed by the blood. And that person that she was before is no longer here. That person is gone. That person is deceased. This is a new person. This is a child of God, and you better show her respect because you know who her daddy is, and he will come for you because he is the Alpha, the Omega. He is the Almighty, and you cannot judge her. So you better you better back off, because God knows who you are, and he knows who she is, and you are not above God, and no one is above God. So don't you bring that nonsense. All right, because she is washed by the blood and she is covered in the blood. Guys, this is what they're going to be going on with. This, and you're gonna have the pastor trying to set you up with a Reformed 304. All right, and she's like, literally, she has a whole bunch of kids. This woman has 3 children and claiming that she's a virgin. Like, bro, this is the same thing that Singer Ciara did when and got herself a very wealthy simp. And this woman and said that she was like a born again virgin, and everything was different. Now, yeah, I bet it's different with all of that money. I'm telling you guys, I'm telling y'all, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I don't feel bad for any of these people. I'm happy seeing people like Mayumi celebrate. I love watching videos by Soraya, putting them on blast. Guys, if you're enjoying this content, help get the channel to 100,000 subscribers by subscribing to the channel if you already haven't, liking the video, and turning on notifications to never miss another video ever again. Traditional women are celebrating the suffering of modern women. What do you guys think regarding this? I want to hear your thoughts on this, so let's talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away, and cheers.